morning, everyone. So I thought we'd do a bit of a shrimp talk because you've been doing the talk with Glenn, haven't you? You've gone through the whole setting up carabiner shrimp for beginners, and
Yeah.
then you and Glenn are pestering me to get into carabiners. And I was thinking, do you know what? There's a gap there, isn't there, between
Yeah.
there's a gap between, say, if you're just starting out in a hobby and getting into carabiner because you're messing with water parameters and stuff then, aren't you?
Yep.
So I was thinking, what's your advice on that then, Glenn? I've got Glenn on my head now because we've just been talking about that. What's your advice on that, Rob, to start? Obviously, I think Glenn was talking about starting with 50-litre tanks, wasn't he, on his talk?
And you see, I've started with a 25-litre tank. The only difference with a 25-litre tank, you've got to just top it up a little bit more. Do a little bit more water change because it's such a small tank. The parameters are harder to control. So if you can control the parameters, even 15% a week's sufficient. But I've got 25-litre tanks with great success. But my best success is 35 to 45-litre tanks.
Yeah, I've been raiding the Amazon, the Diverser Aquariums. They got 45-litre tanks, haven't they?
I use 25 litres.
Yeah, I bought a load of 25 litres from Premier Aquatics. Chester had a load of old, I think they were out of his fish room, like old second-hand ones.
Yeah.
And I bought them, set them up in my living room on the coffee table so I could keep an eye on them. And they just exploded with algae. But before the algae, I was well overfeeding them, thinking you feed them like fish every day.
Yeah, it happens.
Before that, I couldn't get them to breed, and then once I got a big ball of algae in the tank, like population exploded. There was about 100 of each colour in the tank within a few months.
Yeah,
it works, doesn't it? Like they love algae, I think. It gives them something to pick on.
There is no set size tank, but if you want to be realistic about it, if I was being realistic, I would never have started with 25s. The only reason I went with 25s is because I could fit 3 long per shelf, like front to back rather than length. And
Evening, Dave.
If I had the choice to go, it would be 45 litres, like your silverfish type tanks or your Denaril escaping tanks. I think they're the best tanks.
That Paul from the Wallasey fish shop I've just been in, the fish shop tour I've just done, he had a load of them, like them tanks.
Yeah.
Like the little escaper tanks under his counter. And when I watched through the video, I've missed that bit out. Good evening, Dave. Have I said evening? Dave's another one I'd love to get on a live.
Yeah.
Maybe jump on his. Because he knows his stuff, doesn't he? He's learning a lot quick by the sound of it.
He's doing well. He's doing well.
Yeah.
He started it the right way by making sure he's got contacts to get rid of X, Y, Z amount of fish.
Yeah, that's...
You're always that step ahead.
Yeah. Well, my problem at the moment is there's that many people in my area that are smashing the breeding and they've got massive fish rooms, so they've got tons of grow tanks. I think there isn't much point in me doing that because I'm just giving myself a headache at the moment. So that's one of the main reasons why I got rainbows, because I know like most of it's like Peruvian fish. Like lots of smashing out the geos, the angels, discus, plecos. So like if I jump on like the rainbows and say like I've been thinking about the Tanganyikans, haven't I? I was thinking if I jump on them, I know no one else. With Arnold and whoever wants to join in. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking, mate, because like you always get to that point, don't you, where everyone's got the fish you're breeding and you can't get shut to them for loving the money.
You've always, when you're doing a fish room, rule number one of fish room rules is
Even if
make sure
everyone is
you've got
joining.
contacts. Make sure you've got the contacts to get rid of the fish too first.
Yeah.
Even if you haven't got that fish, you should always approach your shop saying, "Look, I'm pretty good at aquarium stuff. I'm pretty good at breeding fish. I'm getting said fish. If I have excess stock, would you be willing to take them, and at what price?"
Yeah.
It's always a.
I
Hi
always
guys.
research first. The one thing I learned was to research how much like the shops are paying wholesale for something.
Yeah.
Because then when you go in, they say, "Well, how much do you want?" Like you got a ballpark figure to play with.
Yeah, you know the rough.
Yeah, because but the thing is, I started breeding these cherry shrimp, and my local shop are like, "I'll take them off you all day. Like, there's no problem
Yeah.
there." So I
They
went
don't
in and I
sell.
was like, I said, "How many do you want?" He said, "I don't know, give us 20." So I said, "All right, yeah." So I took him up 20 and I was like, "Do you want some more?" And he was like, "Well, I'll see how I get on." And I'm like, "I've got like 300 shrimp to move. Like, I'm probably going to produce them faster than you're buying them."
Your best place is eBay.
eBay, that's
But
a lot of
but
people don't.
always
But my
make sure you put with the thing low grades for low grades, medium grades for medium grades, and your top creme de la creme. Charge the extra price because that's the best way of doing it.
well, that's I've got the tanks down here, and like what I'm going to do is like I'm breeding up. You know what I mean? I'm trying to like say breed out to say maybe like 150, and then
Yeah.
pull. Well, you can give me your opinion on that, and then keep like the best 20, move the best along, and then I'm up a grade, aren't I? And
It's not about with shrimp. It's not about the many. It's about the quality few.
yeah,
If you're
that's
willing, but what a lot of people do is have these big tanks, and they're like, "I want 40 shrimp." Yeah, your quantities are going to go up, but you're going to have to cull in your first 3 months. You're going to get so much weak genetics from them colours that you're going to have to cull more. So it's always best to start with probably five. In my opinion's five, like 3 females, 2 males, or 2 males, 3 females.
right. I didn't even. I mean, when you go anywhere, they always tell you 10, and I always think that's quite a bit. Like considering like even the likes of Neos, people say are really sensitive. Oh, Paul's saying, have you guys tried aquarium classified or aquarium?
Aquarist classified. I know of it, but I've never tried it.
I've looked for stuff on there to buy, but I've never. I was funnily enough, I was looking for Stingray on there probably about 5 years ago, and Frontosa because like I couldn't find any around here, but I haven't tried selling on there. I don't even know whether it's active anymore, to be honest. There's FM Horizon, Mike Myers in the chat. Mickey's Aquariums, Collabs of Curiosities, Evening everyone. God, so many names like that I recognise. What were we saying then? I'm like, so you're saying you'd start out with 5, like 2 males, 3 males?
I'd rather start out with two. I'd even rather start out with a male and a female of the best quality, because
Yeah,
that male and female that reproduce of a high quality, 70% of that next generation, their F1 generation, 70% is going to be high grade. So you're only going to
yeah,
get a 30% cullage. Whereas if you start with 20 shrimp, you can guarantee your cullage is going to go up to 50-50, 60-40.
yeah. I'm noticing that with these. Like, there's a lot of males that are wild type, But the thing I found strange about them is I put them in like a cold tank, and they coloured up when they were adults.
Yeah.
So they looked all right as adults, but like as juveniles, they just look like wild type. So
You're best holding shrimp back till they're about juvenile, sub-adult age, because that's
yeah,
when you can have a shrimp that's very opaque, very kind of almost see-through.
yeah,
But you can guarantee by the time that's turned into an adult shrimp, if it's come from good stock, it will go blue, dark blue. It will go solid red, dark red. It will go nice yellow, yellow golden back, green jades. Green jades are your enemy. Green jades are very, very hard to do. So
yeah,
if you want 10 high quality green jades, 70% of them are going to be rubbish, almost wild type looking, dull grey, brown, green trash. It's true, but you can. People do like to buy them, but never advertise them as green jades. Just put like low grade green jades, because you'd be surprised how many people come back, think they're buying Incredible Hulk type shrimp, what a bright green. You send them somewhat look greeny brown, and they're like, let's leave a negative review. Oh, thanks for that. It happens a lot.
That's the thing that worries me about selling on eBay, to be honest. Is
that's eBay. That's eBay for you. This is why I'm trying to say to you, sell them in grades. Don't sell low grade jades as high grade green jades like a lot of people do, because they're not green jades.
No, mine are really dark. They're almost brown. Like you can't see them on the substrate.
That to me is a green. That's what a green jade is.
Yeah, but I like the one with the racing stripe down the back. The ones that was it Garden of Eden was showing off. And he said something about 3 generations start getting that gold bar down the back. And he said there was only a few that were getting them. And I was thinking that, like, I'd love to get them out of it, but it's what it is, isn't it, mate? You just have to work them, and like
that's all you're doing. You're rounding up your shape. You're picking the best, and then you're going with the creme de la creme. If you want to make the creme de la creme shrimp, you've got to put in. What I do, I dedicate myself when I'm doing shrimp. I dedicate myself a day, and I always stick to it. I don't do no other things on that day other than selective breeding, like taking the shrimp out to put in my mixed tank, or I might put 10 in a breeder box and sell them off cheap. You know.
Yeah, that's that's exactly the thing I was thinking about, and but the main problem I've got in my mind's eye with my local post office is absolutely rubbish. So I'd get loads of complaints from eBay just because of my local post office.
eBay is not your best. It's there. If you do it right, it's fine. I mean, my friend Daniel, who has the shrimp farm in Manchester, the only ever complaints he gets in life, he tells me, he calls me bro. He says, bro, eBay always bring head problems, because people always complain about the buy white shrimp and the shrimp turn up in a bag. They're not going to be white. They're going to be faded because they're stressed. And then they'll leave a negative review there and then. The next day, the shrimp have brightened up, and lo and behold, they're what they said there was.
Yeah, that's what I find when I buy shrimp and fish. Like, a lot of them are dull, aren't they, when you first start?
Yeah. I'm still here, don't worry.
I'm just curious to see where we're going.
You can shoot. I'm just going down to some shrimp.
Yeah.
Oh, these are. I'll go into this one actually. I get glare off this for some reason. What am I getting? Do you know that the only thing about having multiple tanks, you get glare?
Yeah, I find I struggle with this tank behind me. It's down that side, and it's not off the actual tank. It's off the. I should have cleaned the ceiling up with the board and painted it out before I started.
This gives you a chance to catch up with chat as well.
Yeah, the chat's absolutely flying, mate. So.
Mike Myers, yes, you can sell on it. You can actually sell shrimp on eBay. It's all legit. You can actually ship via the post as well, all invertebrates. But just be smart about it. Sell what you're actually selling. Don't sell something it's not, because it will come back to bite you in the bum.
Big Fish Lad saying very active on the chat. It's flying. Usually it takes a while for you to chat to get going, doesn't it, on a live?
Yeah, it's going fast.
I think usually when I go live, it takes half an hour to an hour for everyone to turn up, and then so you've been talking for an hour, and then it jumps up to 20, doesn't it?
Lives are becoming the new thing, I think.
I love the lives because everyone's here.
Evening, John.
You can't pretend to be someone you're not when you're on live, can you? You got to be who you are when you're live. Best way to sell anything is to hit your highest targets and work your way down.
The only thing about selling fish on eBay, Dave, the only problem with that, Dave, is you can't poach fish. you're not supposed to post fish. I know people do, but it's as long as it's packaged. But you don't know when you're going for a Royal Mail, for instance, which people do. You don't know that's been when it goes with a proper courier service. It's being kept in a van, heated van, cooled van, regulated temperature. When it's in the post, it can go to Tom, Dick, and Harry. Gets thrown in one bin for sorting, then it gets thrown in another bin for sorting. So you can't really sell the fish unless it's for collection only, I suppose.
So Silver Creek's wildlife saying, so I have a very weird version of shrimp. Mostly when it comes to neos, it was supposed to remove all of the minerals out of the water by using RO, then re-adding those minerals back into.
So rebuffering your water.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
So for instance, doing the RO water and then adding, let's say this was salty shrimp veneer. Let's say this was salty shrimp veneer caridina. Then adding the minerals to get the TDS around about 250. Some people do it because their tap water just too nasty.
It's that's what I'm saying. Even John, I'm saying it's just me or is the connection cutting out?
I've not true.
No, I'm not fine onto the 5G. So like it's fast. The chat's absolutely fine. Lovely group of shrimp bro.
Paul, did you get Daniel's number? Did you pass Daniel's number on to Paul?
What's that? Are you talking to me or Paul?
I'm talking to you, Keith.
What were you saying? Sorry, I'm reading the chat.
Did you get the number what I sent from Glenn to give to Paul?
No, I don't think so.
It's Daniel's mobile number, so Paul can contact Daniel and do a farm visit. I think it'd be an amazing video because he's got so much to not show.
Is that the one I've seen a picture of? It's quite a big.
Yeah. It's a big double room, and each wall's that long wall. It's tanks from left to right. There's 84 tanks in there.
Yeah. Oh Jesus! There's fireworks going on.
There's shrimp you won't ever see. Trust me. You'll be like, wow. And he's like, Daniel? I say yes. He said, I make this. He's been doing it since. Well, he's Polish, yes, but his English to speak is pretty okay. He's got a little bit of Manchester. He's got a little bit of Salford, Manchester twang going on in his Polish accent as well. All right, there, lad.
I think the Polish get it drummed into them to speak English, don't they, from a young age? I think it's a big thing for them to speak English.
He also has the biggest selection and collection of Bucephalandra plants you'll ever see in your life. So if you ever do get the chance to go down there, you'll see I bought half the collection and he got the other half, but he got the good half. He got some very, very, very rare plants.
Wow. A lot of talking about doing tours and stuff. I found that video done really well. I posted that fish room tour. Like it didn't jump up in views that much, but like the views it got, like the watch time and stuff was really good from it. So I'm hoping that's told the algorithm that it's a good vid and it'll start plodding on a bit. But I'm going to try and do more and more that type of content because I've seen such coming back who I haven't seen in this necessarily for a while. That's the stuff that people want to see. That's the stuff I'm going to start
doing. You're around on Instagram. I had some pics of Daniel's on Instagram. Yeah, John has some on John's Instagram as well.
Yeah, Daniel's.
You've got to see it. It's one of them, you know, when you open a door and it goes, oh, it's like that. It's like if you like shrimp, you're like, wow.
Big fish lad saying he can't hear me, Paul saying he can't hear me. I've never had this problem before. You can hear me. I've got a mic somewhere. But the problem is it picks up the whole room.
I think mine's not too bad. Mine's not too bad because it's a new phone. I think if mine wasn't a new phone, it would be worse.
Tried switching over to the other internet. Tell me if it clears up or gets worse. Is the screen quality all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this. You guys sound like Daleks. You're coming through perfect to me, so I don't know what's going on.
Let me have a look. Let me try some.
Oh, there we go. Cheers, Dave.
Try that. I had to do that for you to wear.
Audio is fine now. Is it better now for everyone?
Is that any better, guys?
Yeah. That looks a bit. John's saying it's fine now. Guys in the house. Sound is on and off. He's saying
Hey, guys.
before. That's better. Cool. So we were saying if we start with the 45-litre tank.
45 litres.
You told me to try sand.
Yes.
And if I'm honest, I think that was a brilliant suggestion. I'd never thought about keeping shrimp on sand.
Shrimp pop on sand as well. They keep the sand very clean as well.
Yeah. I remember when I had like a pea gravel, like a black pea gravel I got from what's it called? Hugo Kamishi stuff. Is it called?
Oh, Hugo Kamishi, yes.
Yeah, I got the black fine pea gravel. And I found I ended up with like sea shrimp living in it.
You know, I'm not. What happens is with any pea gravel, it creates gaps and pockets where detritus and old fish food can get to, and even shrimp can't get to. So what happens is you get a population of booming of sea shrimp because there's ample food.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I only ever keep that sort of stuff when I've got when I'm doing like wall start, because you want the waste to get down there then and start breaking down and releasing the nutrients into the plant roots. You know what I mean? But apart from that, I tend to prefer sand because what I find is if you use sand, then none of that waste is going to get down and like
it's all on the surface. It always gets swept up, and then it gets in the water column, and then whatever filtration you've got in that tank takes it away, breaks it down. Yeah. You can't go wrong with sand. I mean, I use this type of sand in all. I mean, apart from my well, I do have, believe it or not, I've got red shrimp in here. Again, sand.
Oh yeah,
shrimp in there. Yeah.
I just thought the colours had nailed them.
Not all of them. No. I'm just trying to. Oh no, you can't zoom in on this. I can see one just there.
Oh, that screen quality is brilliant.
I have blues and reds. I am actually setting up some. I'm going to have a go at Neos again myself. I just because you're all giving me a few Neo tanks.
Yeah, Rob,
I got blues.
You got blues?
I got blues from John, and they're too nice to mix with any other blue, so they're getting their own tank.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think is my audio breaking up? It's I don't know whether when you move the camera, it's
it goes.
I think so. I'm not sure.
It could well be.
No, Rob's. Yeah. Like I find sometimes when I move me.
1 second, I'm just gonna switch the Wi-Fi. I'll probably go off. I switch the Wi-Fi off and back on.
Okay, awesome. You probably got off then. Yeah, it's gone. So yeah, okay. So what's everyone's up to now? Are we it's Sunday, isn't it? I've been in work since 4 o'clock this morning, so I don't remember what day it is anymore. Are you back, Rob?
I'm back. you hear me okay?
What's that? Yeah, sound a lot better.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so I've swapped over to my internet. Waiting to fry to break free. Awesome.
Going his fish.
What's that?
He's got his babies, hasn't he, from his fish? What he's got?
Has he? I'm on my crazy week of shifts where I'm like 12-hour shifts almost every day. So I've got to open the door and let some of this heat out. 20 water changes today. Jesus. I assume that's swim tank, isn't it, with cows?
Yeah, I told you, Kaz has a lot of shrimp.
I know. I remember, like I would say, don't I started doing breeding shrimp for profit videos like last autumn, and I jumped on Glenn's forum. And I think you were the first person I spoke to be honest, Rob.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know nothing about shrimp. I can't.
I'm still learning about shrimp.
Yeah, like there's always something to learn, isn't there? It's like
Exactly
fish,
that. It's an ever evolving hobby, just like the fish.
Yeah. It's something I learned today about the hobby I've never heard before. I can't remember what it was now. I think it was Glenn who told me something, and I've never heard it. But like I always micro learn. Like if I'm watching a film, I'll sit there and I'll think, oh, what did that fish eat? And I'll read through it. You know what I mean? And just constantly picking in information all the time. Like I don't watch telly or anything. All I do is study the hobby.
Pretty much. I'm the same. Anything I watch on YouTube is fish tank, or aquatic related, shrimp related, aquascaping.
So what do you feed Neos then? Because like I remember my friend's tank was going on about powdered fish flake, wasn't he?
I don't feed my neocaridiners. I don't feed my cherry shrimp. So whatever food goes in for the fish and the fish don't get, the cherry shrimp will eat, and my numbers are good.
What fish do you keep them in with?
The dwarf rainbow tank seems to have a higher success rate because I think the other tank, what I've got my reds in, has got my Congo tetras and yellow Congos, and I think they're taking off the occasional baby shrimp.
Yeah, I don't.
I started with that tank. I started that tank with no shrimp.
Did you?
They obviously came in on something. I had red shrimp from another tank, and they've just now become a colony.
Bloody hell. I do that with fish. I had set up the wall stand upstairs and I just used plants out of my planted tank. The next minute I had a rummy nose rasbora fry in the tank.
Yeah.
And they're still in there now. And I keep having to remember to feed them because in my mind's eye there's no fish in there.
Yeah.
Because there's never put fish in there, but they're obviously there, so I have to keep remembering to feed them. But I've been feeding that Epidama, is it? Once a week.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some food as well.
Where's mine? Glenn sent me this. Where's he gone?
These, if I was to feed neocaridina, and for instance, I want my breeding to improve, I would use this, and it does work.
I've been using this.
That's for babies.
Yeah, that's what I've been using for the tanks with the shrimplets in, and then I've been popping one of these in every week.
I have that food. That's like shrimp crack.
Shrimp crack.
If I want to rotate the food, I would then feed something like this, a Vital, what's got extra minerals and trace minerals in it, actually in the food, and vitamins. So then me tend to be my go-to. But
talking about shrimp crack, here's the shrimp crack dealer. Just come in the chat. Bloody hell, your bag's bigger than mine.
I'm also a big fan of this one, the SL Aqua Vital White.
Yeah. Is that the little sticks I always see you feeding? Like the little black brownie black sticks.
This one comes like this.
Yeah. It looks like dried rapashi almost, doesn't it?
Almost rapashi like, yeah, but not hard. Oh, I usually these are the other two. These are actually the same foods, but in two different types. That one's the stick, and this one's like this. Same food, but like little mini wafers.
Like a pleco wafer almost, isn't it?
In this food, there's seaweed, fish meal, seaweed, minerals. There's also trace elements in this. This is a really good food.
Seaweed's packed full of stuff. I should dose my tanks with it because it's absolutely amazing.
John with his shrimp sent me some of this to try, and I tried it on my shrimp, and it actually turns your shrimp to. Once your shrimp have eaten it, your shrimp becomes still. So if you want a good photo opportunity, feed some of this, wait 1 hour, and then you get loads of shots.
What does it do to your shrimp to make them stay still?
I have no idea, but it's from Asia. I know that. Secret ingredient.
What does everyone else feed the shrimp? Let's see what they say in the chat.
My shrimp also eat these. Again, this is my best food. My shrimp also eat these because they slowly break down. They're like in pellets. Slow dissolve in, but shrimp love them. So do fish. Like I can put one in here and that'll be gone in 30 seconds.
Crystal meth.
Shrimp crack dealer. Terminator mode. So it's like crystal. Okay. Yeah, it does make them go very. I tried that out and my shrimp went all quiet. I was like, oh, right, okay.
So do you just use tap water with your Neos? Or
I actually remineralize. I use half tap water, which is already dechlorinated from my HMA filter. And then I'll do the other half in RO. Now, if the TDS is around 200, I'll boost it up to about 250, which usually tends to give me a GH of around about 8 to 9 and a KH of about 4.
Right, so 8 to 9 and then KH of 4. And with the Neos, isn't it mostly it's mostly calcium you want in the GH, isn't it?
Yeah. And a good source of calcium is cuttlebone, but break it up into pieces, put it in a jug, pour boiling water over it, leave it, and then leave the pieces what sink, and then pieces what have sank, just drop in your tank. Or even crush it up to a fine powder and just sprinkle a little bit in and let it go everywhere. They'll all get some.
Yeah, makes sense. It's a good idea, that actually.
Scavenger, let crush them up and let it cover everything because them shrimp will be all over it. And they all get the same amount then.
I assume it'll get stuck in the biofilm as well then.
That's a good thing, that, Glenn. Thing to remember is any shrimp food is a supplement. 90% of their food should be or does come from the tank, i.e. algae or biofilm, which is very true, because they're actually a scavenger feeder. So they're really, you feeding them is just to supplement them. If you didn't feed them, the shrimp would still survive. Very versatile.
That's something I always forget, that all you're doing when you're feeding them is making sure they're getting a balanced diet.
Yep.
Like
a little bit of this, or a little bit of that, bit of high protein, bit of vitamins, bit of mineral content. But yeah, 90% of the time, the scavenger are eating off the glass, the rock, the plants, the filters, the sponge filters. You know, everything what's covered. Biofilm is if you want lots of biofilm, always get botanicals, add them, leave them in for a week until they've been cleaned, take them out, put them aside into a bowl, just leave them soaking. add a little bit of bacteria to that bowl what they're soaking in, all these old pods and stuff. All the biofilm grows on it. Then you just take it out and put it in the tank, and the shrimp clean it again. Free food.
There's Dan's aquarium in the chat. I haven't seen Dan's aquarium for ages. How are you, Dan?
For instance, this bucket has been, some of these pieces of wood and stuff have been in for over 2 years. But this cholla wood's gone soft and it's covered in biofilm. I have seed pods.
I'm good, Dan. Thanks.
If I want to feed a lot of shrimp, I just drop one of them in the tank. The shrimp will be all over it.
So it's all gone soft, and they'll just pick away.
I always have a bucket. This is only a 5-litre bucket full of any type of water. Just soak them, and away you go.
Small fish 16. Hi, mate.
Don't change the water periodically, because otherwise it stinks the house out.
Oh yeah. Stacking the water the way.
If you've got a tortoise as well, if anyone's got a tortoise, use this stuff. It's the best.
Well, what's that?
It's cocoa, but it's got calcium in it. So if the tortoise gets a bit of the cocoa husk in its mouth, the substrate, it can actually break down and pass it. If it was sand, for instance, the tortoise would become compact, and it can get very. So I do a mix of cocoa and sand, but my sand's calcium sand, so it can actually break down in the system.
Almost like a coral sand, then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Why haven't we added that in our hobby then? A calcium sand.
Who knows?
Sounds like something we could do with, especially if we've got a.
You can get calcium rich. You can get calcium rich reptiles. I wouldn't like to say what it would turn your water like, because it's very powdery. We used to get it in a shop in big 60-kilo bags, and we had to bag it up into 2-kilo packs. Oh, honest to God, you used to get it all up in. It's not. I don't think it would be any good in water.
It's not the best white powder.
No. Not that I've tried it.
Not that I've tried it. No. So, what was I going to say then? Well, we were talking about foods, weren't we? And we were saying supplements rather than, and then. So I tend to feed. I'll go and pick net out because I learned that. A lot of the stuff I learned was originally off Mark shrimp tanks, and I think a lot of that information's in the hobby, like the crushing goldfish flake up and feeding that to the tank to kick the biofilm off. Now, one thing, Glenn's using that, and Cass just mentioned the dead shrimp powder.
ESP, yes.
Yeah.
Don't need a lot.
No. I'm taking it. That's a better idea than.
You see, another thing, that bucket I've just showed you. If I had dead shrimp powder, I would get 1 scoop and I would put it in that bucket with all the leaves. You can imagine the biofilm. That would feed an army of shrimp. You wouldn't never really have to feed your shrimp. They're getting ample food. Another good thing is like your Indian almond leaves. Always have one of them in your tank, because they will break down and they do feed on them, and they also produce a lot of biofilm.
I always use the what you call it, mate? I always use oak leaves.
Yeah, oak leaves do the same thing, just a little bit less. Oak leaves do not drop your pH as much as catappa leaf would, for instance. That's the only difference.
Yeah, I really like oak leaves because
they still release the same amount of tannins.
Yeah, I think that's where I got it from. I like blackwater tanks, so
yeah. I'm thinking of doing my discus tank as a blackwater tank.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think wild discus in blackwater look epic. Maybe a pair of angels in there with them. I don't know yet.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a little shoal of some tetra what can take them higher temps just as a diver fish. Bacteria is a good product, but you can overdose on bacteria. You've got to be very careful with that stuff.
explain that to me. Back to AE. I've seen it mentioned, and I've made some.
Glenn knows. Glenn, this is where Glenn comes in. Glenn knows more than I do when it comes to regarding the breakdown of Factory A. I personally used it, and I was not having great success for baby shrimp. But then I've had tanks where I've used it and they have. So I don't know. Maybe I was using too much.
Is it like beneficial bacteria, or is it like a?
It's a natural bacteria. Not only is it a food, but anything it starts to settle on creates a biofilm, basically. So if it settled down on a rock or a piece of wood, that rock and wood will start to grow fuzzy, and no, that's food.
Some bacteria use gram-negative bacteria. They consume oxygen as it grows.
That's what I was trying to see. I don't know everything, and that's where I went wrong. I think I was starving my shrimp of oxygen because I was putting so much in.
Yeah, but your beneficial bacteria, they're gram-negative, aren't they? Because they consume oxygen.
Yeah.
And convert it to CO2. I use a lot of botanicals, and to be fair, they're always on them.
Yeah, because botanicals are just magnets for biofilm. Biofilm grows quicker on leaves and wood and stuff than it does other areas.
This is the thing. Like, the more I talk to you and Glenn about this stuff, the more I realise it's linked with the Wallstab method. Like,
you see,
you're promoting the same processes with a different goal. But with the Wallstab method, you're pushing organics to break down to feed plants, whereas with shrimp keeping, you do it to create biofilm to feed the shrimp.
If you're not feeding your shrimp, and you had, for instance, you had a bit of this, or you had a bit of bioenzyme, which also you can use for fish and shrimp, and then you add a little bit of probiotic. You've no need to feed a shrimp a pellet, really.
No,
you shouldn't. You shouldn't. All babies are juveniles.
That's the thing. It's like
the key to keeping shrimp is the key to keeping a shrimp tank, just shrimp tanks, and not getting tons of sea shrimp. If you tend to start the shrimp hobby and you're a feeder, you will run into issues long term. But if you was getting into the shrimp hobby, you already knew about this, and you tend to supplement your tank every now and again, the occasional food, you will not get no seed shrimp. I don't have seed shrimp or anything like that. The only thing I've got in mine is one tank where I've got Cali blackworms, and that's it.
Yeah, I've got tube effects worms in mine.
Yeah, John. John's question, it depends. Hardcore breeders don't have. Breeders tend to keep the tank simple. So if you're breeding, you don't want a tank full of X, Y, and Z because you would have to move X, Y, and Z just to get the shrimp. You want it to be able to have a UGF filter in the middle, very little layer of soil, no plants, maybe a bit of moss on the UGF filter. So when you go into that tank to catch 10 shrimp for the customer, it's not like it's just a case of done.
Yeah. My tanks have deliberately, because last time I was like, I'm going to put all my little plants, my little boosters, and a little bit of rock here and there, and do all this kind of microscaping, and then I couldn't get anywhere near my shrimp. So when I set these tanks up, I thought I'm just going to set it up in a way where I can just get a bucket, take everything out of the tank, put it to one side, and the tank's just sand, so I can catch the shrimp, and I can do that all in 30 seconds.
That DSP powder being available in the UK now because Glenn's got it. Well, a source of it. It's a bit of a game changer because, like John said, people was using Lubao, which is like a ball, or Calax ball, which is like a little material pouch, and inside it's got some secret ingredients. And you soak it for about a week, and it just constantly grows biofilm off it. So you take it out, leave it, put it back in. It just creates new food every week.
I'm just reading John. I keep my tank super simple now. Like
that's super simple's key. You can overkill a tank. You don't need. I mean, some people I understand, but if you're looking to take X, Y, and Z and 50 shrimp out of that tank every month, for instance, you don't want a busy tank. You want a simple tank.
Yeah, that's like because I set this tank up and I thought
work smart, not hard.
I've always done that my whole life. And they would say, don't they, if you work smart, you'll never have to work hard. And I like solving problems. Like one of my favorite things in the world, Glenn knows this, is solving problems. I've just set Gord to a mod. I was just going to ask if Gord, because the Gord bot's amazing, isn't he? If Gord and Glenn can
God's the man. God is the man.
Share everyone's channels in the chat so we can get sub going on. And
Okay, you carry on talking. I'm just going to grab another look, Sid.
Okay, mate. Yeah, I just thought like there's a few people in the chat that I want to sub to, and there's a few people I'd like people to sub to, like Dan's Aquarium, like Dan's a top bloke, and like there's a few channels that I don't think I'm sub to that I want to get sub to, but don't forget you have to understand that a simple tank is the way forward for selling shrimp, but I just can't look at a bird tank without thinking it needs to be scaled. I understand that. FM, like I get the itch like with tanks. I always have to have a tank that's escaped to kind of scratch the itch, otherwise all my tanks I start playing with, and obviously I wouldn't call myself a hardcore aquascaper, but I would like to be, because I was banging into bonsai and studied all the techniques, and like I went hardcore. I was studying bonsai for about 12 hours a day for about 2 years, and I think a lot of the principles, a lot of the theories tie into aquascaping. When I look at like the likes of Takashi Amano's work, I was thinking a lot of this ties into Japanese gardening and bonsai and stuff like negative space and movement, flow, stuff like that. But I say there's quite a few good people in the chat that I'd like to get more subs to them, and
yeah, that's fine. That's sub o'clock.
But don't forget, guys, we have to interact with other people's content. Like sub to them if you genuinely
drop a like, drop a hi. Thank you. Every little helps everybody. It gets the algorithm going. The more you do, the better it becomes.
The subs I picked up from doing lives and from doing other people's lives, and like I don't mind jumping on other people's lives to give their channel a push. But the subs you pick up from them are definitely the best subs. Our little gang of channels that all stuck together.
Yeah.
Like the amount, like every time you go live, everyone's there. Do you know what I mean? And like every video you put out,
nobody ignores you. Everyone gives you a hi, a hello, a how are you, and that is what's missing in the hobby. And when you have that in the hobby, it just brings everyone together. Well, we all row the same way. Then we all get in the boat and row the same way, so we go one direction, not 10.
Don't mention one direction. See, I've got caught into this trap of like, if I'm honest, like I'll be completely honest with everyone in here, of like, but like, because YouTube puts a tab there, doesn't it? And you're like, right, how close am I to this 1,000 that YouTube are telling me I need? And looking back, like I started this channel to interact with other fish keepers, and then I look at the guys I'm interacting with. You know, I went and seen a fish shop, like I've been invited to Fish Room to go and tour them.
Yeah.
And that's what I joined this for. Like, so I'm like, I don't know how to. I'm stressing myself out over this number, and I've already achieved what I wanted to achieve realistically. Like, Rob, I've got you on here. Like, that's what I wanted. Like, people like you, like talking, interacting with people like you.
I'm just me. I'm nobody special. I'm just. It was because of you and Glenn. Because of you and Glenn, that you're the reason that I thought, you know what? Why am I wasting my time not doing anything? I spent all these years holding back what I have. I should share that. Not be one of them people what sits in the corner and don't say nothing, which I kind of became. So this for me is an outlet. So it's a win-win.
That's it. Like that's also I want to do is like grow in the hobby, get to know more and more people. And I watched one of Paul Big Fish Lad's videos, and I commented in it saying like I want to do that. Like I want to set up a channel. I already had one. Like most people know like my little channel, but that was like, I don't know, that was me like playing with YouTube rather than
It's, do you know what
like,
else is nice? It's nice to share your journey because that's what it is. It's a journey.
yeah, well, I always go back on my Instagram, I'll be honest with everyone. My photos on Instagram are just as much for me as they are for anyone else.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
well, spoiler alert, Glenn.
I know. I'm not going to spoil it. I just
Dan's
worked
doing a
out.
mental health series at the moment.
It was obvious, but I ain't going to spoil it for him.
Dan, if you want to do what you call it, a live or anything on mental health or something like that,
Yeah,
like
that'd be
that.
a good thing. Mental health. I'm big on mental health. I've been in the mental health system since the age of 14.
You are,
I'm still receiving treatment now to this day now.
you are.
Yeah.
I've done counselling. I'm not a qualified counsellor, but I've done counselling courses and I've studied psychology.
I've seen that many psychiatrists. I've lost count.
Yeah, well, I'm not a fan of psychiatrists, and I tell you for why. Because I've studied clinical psychology, and
Yeah.
if a clinical psychologist on a ward, the psychiatrist will go, well, this person is taking this medication, and they had these symptoms, and they've gone. And he's got these symptoms, and they've gone. And the psychiatrist will go, yeah, but he came in here because he was lonely, and we haven't made him any connections. He hasn't got a job. He hasn't got any friends. He's still lonely. So if we discharge him back into the community, he's still got the same issues at home that he had before he
Do you know how
came.
many times do you know how many times in my life since the age of
Have a
14
fight with him off. Sorry.
I've pressed play. I've got to see Dr. Hazawada, the specialist in psychology and all that. I've seen him. Then 6 weeks later, because you've had only 6 sessions, you get discharged. You then go back. You get back stuck back in your rut because it wasn't never enough, and it's you press play again, and then you just fast forward, and it happens again and again and again. That's the
Yeah.
state of the mental health in the UK. They
Well, that's
say
the
it's
thing.
out there, but it's not. It's
It's
okay.
not.
It's
No.
okay to not be okay. And anybody out there struggling, reach out to anyone and speak up because you'll be okay.
Yeah, of course. Do you know what I mean? It's a hard subject. I think Paddy Pimlet was talking about it, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Like, don't
I
bother
watched
me.
Paddy this morning win.
Did you? I was on my way to work when he was fighting.
Yeah, I watched it. Oh, he put him to sleep and broke his arm. He broke his arm while the guy was asleep. He-
Definitely a
mate,
scouser.
Paddy the Baddy was it's the best I've seen. He's just
Yeah,
getting better and better.
he
He's
is.
taking
Yeah.
it more he's taking his training real serious and stuff now.
Well, Paddy and Molly come from a gym. I know lads who train. They done the black belt in
Yeah,
Brazilian jiu-jitsu with him,
yeah,
and
BBJ.
I can't tell you. Like, I've seen them training and the grappling that those guys can do. I
Yeah,
know, like, it's like Khabib style grappling. Like, I've never
forever
seen anyone
getting
be able to grapple like they do.
cauliflower ears, little gashes, little bruises, little marks on their heads. They're always cut up, and that's just training.
Yeah,
Real men.
but I'd say, like, it's true though what he was saying. Like, don't bottle it up. Reach out, and this is our therapy, isn't it? You
This
know what I
is.
mean?
Let me go. This is my therapy. This is my
Exactly.
therapy.
I'm just turning the lights while Rod's showing us. Just making sure the lights.
This is my extension
Right.
onto the landing.
See me fish tank then. I've just knocked me thing over.
Here's a little
I think that's
hack.
it.
These lights are really good for growing plants, by the way.
What type of plants? High tech
Them
or low tech?
cryptocorin. Look at the colour of that.
Wow. Is that a
It's got
walker eye?
It came as a mix. Same as that one came as a mix.
Yeah, that.
And then one came as a mix. That's the same one as the one across there. pink edges on it. You can see it
I've
better.
got that one in the tank.
Look at that. Can you see it?
Yeah. Wow. That's stunning, though, isn't it?
I'm not fertilising anymore either. I've stopped using it. No.
What fertilizer are you using?
It's now been about nearly 3-4 weeks. No, you haven't. The only thing I pop in every now and again is these, and I found these to work. They're the identical ingredients as APIs, and they're swell root tabs, but you get 80. They're actually the tablet. You can break them up. That's all I use.
Are they just the micronutrients, or have they got macros in them
pretty
as well?
much. Yeah.
So if you use them,
they've done great on my crips. They've done great on my cryptocorans, but I put them under the Amazon swords, and nah.
Amazon swords. The only way I've ever succeeded at growing swords is mud. Just
For Amazon swords, love light, don't they? They'll grow to the light. So I think my issue with that tank is the light's too high, too far away. I have the tank. I have, like, say that's the surface of the tank. I have the light like that far. Maybe I should look at putting it a bit closer.
Yeah, I've got mine in here under the light I'm starting to not enjoy anymore, which is the All Pond Solutions light. Like going with the All Pond Solutions, you've got to keep floating plants between the tank and the light, otherwise algae.
You get big issues. You get big, massive. The thing with the All Pond Solutions, there's so many LEDs on them. They're so close together. They've put that many in one space. It's so bright. Yeah, Glenn's shop is a lovely shop. Mickey's Aquariums. It's where I get all my stuff from.
Yeah, I try to spend some money in Glenn's shop as often as I can.
You don't even want to know what I've spent at Glenn's. You wouldn't. Well, you probably might guess what I've spent at Glenn's shop in the past. Altogether.
I don't know.
Probably about 1,400 quid. Yeah. And that's him. That's Glenn. That's Glenn also helping me out with a friend's rates, mates rates, the plants. So it could have been more.
Yeah, I think we need to get I think we need Glenn to get some plants.
Yeah, do a plant order, Glenn. Get selling some plants because I want some more cryptocorin.
Yeah, I think not so much the buying dyes like stems, like your Tar, your Ludwigia, and your Bacopa stuff like that. It's just buying dye. I think you put it in your tank, it'll start transitioning. You'll never be able to sell it. But the likes of Crips will sit there and they'll transition in a pot, and like your swords.
Do you know my old man from Aquatic, from Glen, the last order? Not one of them melted back, Keith. Not one.
Didn't it?
No. But I didn't. As you spotted out to me, I didn't individually pull them apart to make multiple ones. I put the full pot in one place.
What was this with the Crips?
Yeah. I didn't separate. I put them all together, and they've just no melting whatsoever. I ain't gonna lie, I was shocked because I've had Crips before. I've had Crips on lava stone, and all that melted back. Just when it tended back, and then eventually, just 2 years later, it's a big massive piece. I'll show you one now. 1 second.
Let's have a look at the Crips. Where's it gone? I thought you were taking the camera with you.
These actually died off, and it just became lava rock.
Did it? Hey, that's right.
Look at how the roots have grown on. No. Yeah, there we have it.
So, talking about lava rock, one thing I love for planted tanks is bonsai soils.
Yeah, Akadama type.
Not just Akadama, the likes of your fine crushed lava rock, your molar clay and stuff. Some of them are in there. Some of them have got like high cation exchange capacity. So when you dosing your ferts, it'll pull all the nutrients in, and then when you put like the likes of root tabs in, it'll pull all the micronutrients into the substrate.
Do you know them crips? What you've just seen? Do you know where they're getting the nutrients from? Because I don't dose that. They're actually stood on a UGF box full of soil. So that's all. That's it.
Huh.
Soil's it.
Aqua soil.
I've had that plant what you've just seen in a sandy bottoms, and it didn't in a higher pH, and it didn't do well at all. But if you put that in a bit softer water, or for instance, a Caribbean shrimp tank, it grows big.
Yeah, my crib's like a bit of acid in the water, like.
Yeah, I think that's what it's down to.
Yeah.
Glenn. It was a Tropica on plant. It was from you, Glenn. I've had that 2 years now. I've got a few of them. I just like them because they're the kind of plants you can just pull out. I have them as spares, so if I set a new tank up, I just plonk it in with the plant on. Done. I want to catch fish or shrimp out of that tank, just pull the plant out on the rock. Done. But you can still make your tank look.
So is there any other questions I've missed with regards to Neos before we'll just have a general chat after that? Was there anything? The chat's been flying all evening.
Not really, because you've done water parameters, you've done what do you feed them, what size tank's best. Cherry shrimp are pretty simple, really. They're very forgiving.
Yeah.
You can, when it comes to parameters for cherry shrimp, I'd be quite content to put cherry shrimp in my, if I didn't have African cichlids, but it was Tanganyika parameters, cherry shrimp would do fine. But then if I've had cherry shrimp in, I've kept cherry shrimp in actually Caribbean parameters, GH5, KH0, and my cherry shrimp did fine. Because as much as the mineral content in GH and KH is not high and they need all that calcium, they was getting it in the food.
Yeah.
Never had molting problems or anything.
What do you do if you see molting problems?
Say that again.
If you see molting problems, what would you do?
Depends how bad the malt is. If it's a malt I know I can't get off by intervening and using being careful and doing it with 2 pairs of these and just holding the shrimp rather than touching the shrimp. I've done it before where I've actually just pinched the fish, just gentle little shake, and 9 times out of 10 it just comes off. If it doesn't come off, leave the shrimp or euthanize, because it will grow around the old growth. The new growth grows under it, and then you get shrimp which looks like it goes like that, and then it'll go bloop, and that's all build up the skins. It will never molt in that place again.
No. Yeah.
But when it comes to bad malts tends to be a sign of just a little lack of a mineral calcium in the diet. And there's many ways. Them calcium blocks are a load of tosh. Don't use them because calcium blocks affect your pH and your GH and your TDS. Right. But the best form of calcium really is cuttlefish bone. But again, there's that many types of mineral foods. You've no need. I don't give man any cuttlefish bone. There's me telling you use this, use that, but I don't use it. So I'm going against what I say, but I do it. What works for me.
What's this, isn't it? Like there's a textbook's way of doing things, and then
there's not. Again, the only books what was ever out for Caribbean shrimp and keeping was in German. Now I ain't gonna learn German just to read a book.
No. I don't read English books, so there's no chance I'm going to learn German and then read a book. Even in Humbercoy, it's a neighbour.
That's exactly right, Glenn. So the skeleton on this. So what happens is the molt grows a skeleton on a skeleton on a skeleton on a skeleton. Before you know it, your fish is all bent up, and then you euthanize it.
Yeah.
Or if it's dead, what I tend to do with dead shrimp, I'll feed them to my isopods.
Yeah.
My isopods are happy because they love prawns. Hello, Aaron.
So, is that Humber Coy? Is that Aaron? Is it?
Yeah, that's Aaron. Aaron from Aaron from.
Oh, sorry. Oh.
Yeah, he's round the corner from me, literally.
Yeah, I always like. There's so many names, and I'm like they got the channel names, and then someone will say hello to them, and then I'm like, right, I need to remember the name. I need to.
I'm rubbish, Keith. I'm rubbish at names, but now what I'm learning, it's quite surprising when you do more lives. It's quite surprising once you've done some at once or said someone's name, or it's quite surprising how much you actually remember. Because I'm shit. Yeah, I'm rubbish. Yeah. But I'm remembering.
I think I got it from the army, you know, because you meet that many new faces all the time in the army. You kind of don't retain.
Right, I'll turn my camera on because I'm going to have a cigarette because I don't smoke in live.
So's your tank.
Which tank would you like to see?
Which tank does everyone want to see? Like, so's your mixed tank to be there.
Oh shit! that didn't go right. Mixed tank.
Good evening. Hey, Dubs Angels.
It's as close as I can get. You can't zoom in on this. There's lots of new babies in here. Like if you just look on the glass there, you'll see babies. Look.
Yeah, there's tons of them, isn't there?
Yeah. There is a light glare of this, which is the glare of.
Rob.
What? This is Bucephalandra teardrop. It's a very rare plant. I
think maybe. Yeah, that's a boots, isn't it? What's the moss behind it?
That is Fissenden's Fontassa.
There we go. And then that's another boots in front of it.
That's, you know how I grow that? It's got a weighted plant ring in the middle. I just covered it in the moss, and every so often I just turn it round and it grows like that.
Yeah. It's a nice little plant, that, isn't it, that moss?
Beautiful. I've actually got it growing on a UD mat and filter, growing out of it.
Have you? What else do you grow on mat filters? I love mat filters, by the way.
I have a micro species. This is a Fissenden's, but this is Fissenden's nobilis. This one's Fissenden's nobilis, Noblis, nobilis. And then this one's similar, but this one's Mirakoshi, which is a Japanese moss. Then you've got your Hookeris moss at the back there. Again, I keep various booths. That's a rare one.
That's nice. That's such a tall. Oh.
This moss, this is rare moss. That's Bucephalandra moss. This moss is only found growing around in the wild around that.
Has it got a symbiotic relationship or something?
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
Wow. I love the way that weeps.
It's a good moss. I'll have to send you some of that because it's and then I've got this moss here. This is a hybrid, and ain't nobody else barring Daniel Shrimp Farm has got that. On that little piece there's worth about £300. That's a hybrid cross between Fissenden's nobilis, the micro Fissenden's, and Bucephalandra moss.
Wow.
It was actually done by a guy in Ukraine before the war started. Luckily enough, Daniel managed to get him. This came with when I bought all the boats. Got your wavy green there. Then in this tank I've got boats.
That's the same. It's your fault she's got a boost addiction. Boost is stunning though.
If she goes to Daniel's, take a big fat purse because he's got more boats than your eyes could see. You'll never see. If you go to Daniel's, you'll never see a Bucephalandra collection like it ever. When I went to the guy's house, I bought all my tanks from him. He didn't have no fish or shrimp. He just had plants. It was just a collector of Bucephalandra. And what he did, these tanks, if you notice at the back of this tank, you notice it's got a glass shelf.
Yeah.
Well, all these tanks had multiple glass shelves, and he used to stand his boats on all them. The front, the back, the sides, there was all covered in boats, all the sides, just Bucephalandra tanks. It was stunning.
Yeah.
Right, let me smell that cigarette.
So that
What type?
see that the chat always kicks off when we start talking plants, doesn't it? It's
Yeah,
Dan
because
saying, I wanted some live plants, but they always die. And yeah, I got him up the most interest. I think a lot of people get into plants and they kind of like they'll buy something that's going to transition and they'll start
most
transitioning and then they'll
definitely.
think, oh, my plant's dead. But it's not, it's just been growing out of water. And then like they'll start throwing leaves off that have it's transitioning to grow new growth. So like I always tell everyone, like with the likes of an Amazon sword, look in in the middle of the rosette at the bottom, look for the new growth. Because my swords, like even my swords in my high tech tank and stuff that are in dirt, the all the leaves that I bought with the plant, they're all brown. They all look like they're dying. But
Yeah.
I've got Amazon sword leaves that are the best part of 12 inches. And yeah, like Gord's saying, don't stay away from stems in the beginning. Like I think I'm over stems. Like you can never keep stems looking good long term, I don't think. Unless you like
You see, I've got my rainbow tank, and I think it's because I'm keeping on top of it. I'm getting the rewards. Whereas my
yeah,
other tank, it just grew so far and it's just died off. All the bottom of the stem become like stripped off. I think the
yeah.
plecos was eating it. So
It's
in
not,
one tank I've done great, and in another tank I've not done so good.
I look at it like bonsai, where like you have to keep pruning it back and keep pushing the growth back because you get like apical dominance, don't you? In like trees
You're
and stuff,
pushing,
where like
yeah.
it
When you
runs
tend to
away.
trim stuff and cut it back, you're concentrating more power towards the other areas, basically, aren't you?
Yeah, I want to say to people, no one's having success. It's because they're letting it grow out and then they're cutting it back, and it's got to start building its energy back up again and start pushing.
Yeah.
And I do with mine, like I let them get away from me, and then I try and push them back, and it's thrown most of the leaves off the bottom half by then, and then it's just I always find like I let it run away, and then like the bottom half of the stem looks crap, and I'm trying to push the growth back down, and the plant doesn't want to push because it wants to be a big bush, and now I've made it try and push it back down, and
Yeah,
I just find
yeah.
like for me like if someone's getting into plants, like I keep thinking about this because people keep saying Keith, like what should they try plant wise? And like I love only heavy root feeding plants because they use mud, don't I? Like I literally plant
I
in
mean,
dirt.
this plant at the back, this one here, this one, not the Anubias, the one further back. They're just them ceramic little mounds. I put a bit of hookeris moss in, and they've actually grown around them,
Yeah.
out and around it. That's a really good moss. But then
Glenn,
Glenn got this on an order, this Anubias. It's got bloody Java moss on it, and I hate Java moss.
oh yeah. So Glenn's
It
just
go,
saying there, good shout out that good Anubias Blutiflander epiphyte plants. Yeah.
what's that regarding a little bit of a live chat regarding them?
Well, that he's saying. I think God suggested to keep them first. The likes of you Anubias Blutiflanders and like other epiphytes. Like I totally agree.
They're not hard plants. They're not hard plants to keep.
No, that he's saying that. Um,
I don't do anything to these other than the power of what comes from the waste of the shrimp and whatever I feed. That's it.
I
And
tend to
look,
recommend with your epiphytes. I tend to either recommend keeping floating plants so they're not getting hit by direct light, or
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah. They don't like full blown light. They do not like full blown light. Shaded areas.
yeah. When I took them under, that's what I was going to say. I took them under something like a bit of Rotala or Ludwigia, something so it's like shaded a bit rather than getting the full light, even like the low tech light. Um, Dustin's fish tank says, what good plants for African cichlid tanks or plants that grow in Africa? Dustin's fish tank always says, and
Very
I like
few. And the ones that they've found, the species that they've found most abundant of in these lakes is species of Vallisneria.
area.
Yeah. Something what roots deep just to prevent, because you know what they're like for uprooting stuff and you know what they're like for eating a bit of greenery. So always
Oh yeah,
Vallisneria gigantea, gigantea. I would happily use, but I'd make sure I planted it very, very deep just so it couldn't be uprooted. Or before you put the sand in and plant, put a base of rocks around the root and then put the sand on. So then even if they do dig it up, they tend to leave the rocks alone and the plant stays in place. I've done that method myself.
If you don't have a look on my old Instagram pictures, I had the Frontosa tank with another load of Anubias. They never touched the valve, any of my cichlids. They're just like a big, must be about like the tank was 30 inches tall and they went to the top and grew about 2 foot over and they never touched that valve. But a guy said to me, try Anubias, and I got Anubias and I grew it all out and it started looking really nice. Now when Anubias starts filling in and starts to look a bit like a crown, it was getting to that point. And then one day I got home from work and there was just a rhizome floating around in a tank. They'd ripped it off the rock and it's all leave.
I've heard Anubias doesn't tend to do too well.
No, but it was fine until it looked like it just been ripped off the rock by the Frontosa and all the leaves have been.
And the downside to Anubias, you'll put it in a tank like a Malawi where you've got very high light and you've got light bounce back off the sand and the substrate and the tank.
Oh yeah.
It tends to always ruins the you just end up ruining your Anubias. It get covered in algae. It's a mess.
Worst thing is, it's cichlid tanks renowned for cyano, aren't they?
Like, cyano, no. But do you know my key? Matt, do you know what? Look where do you see cyanobacteria in my tanks?
Nowhere.
Do you know why?
I've never. No, I don't.
Then snails.
Snails.
Ramshorn snails. And then the one that's got the least amount of snails in, look. No algae in here, loads of snails. Clean. No algae in here, loads of snails. No algae in here, loads of snails.
I went to catch at home yesterday and a bloke sold Malawis with guppies to a person and said they're good tank makes. I turned around and said the guppies will be dinner. My pets at home, Jesus. The advice I've given out my pets at home's insane.
It depends. I mean, one of my pets at home's near me is actually someone that I actually have known for a long time. So I know for a fact if you go there, he knows about fish.
Yeah.
So I can't. I don't agree with pets at home's policies and the way they go. They do it all wrong.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
I'll be honest, completely honest. I learned how to diagnose goldfish illnesses by going to pets at home and looking at their goldfish. Yeah. I did. Anchorworm, flukes, ick, or white spots as we call it in the UK. I learned loads of them.
And the thing is with pets at home, it's not individual systems. So if one tank's got an illness, all tanks are getting it because they're all run off the same system.
Yeah, to some, isn't it? And then they'll have one tank in the middle of a rack, and it says these tanks. They got
them made in Germany. Yeah, it's a sump system. It's very similar to maiden eggs.
Can I buy them? Can I buy them angels above? And they're like, yeah. And you think they're on the same system as these fish you can't buy because they're being treated. So
yeah.
What's going on here? But I've literally seen a woman, the supervisor, stood on my side of the shelf at the dry goods and the fish on the other side. And the woman's gone round and the customer's been like, can I keep this with this?
Yeah.
And she'll go back to the supervisor and the supervisor will say no. And then she'll go back and say, no, you can't keep that with that. And I'm like, well, why doesn't the supervisor just go around and have this conversation? And in the end, he said, you can put as many rocks in your tank as you want when you start, but you can only put two plants in a week. And I was like, what? Okay. Where are you getting me feeling? You can put as many plants in as you want. The more plants, the better to start a tank with, in my opinion.
Yeah, my opinion too. The more plants, the better.
Yeah.
Unless it's a Caribbean shrimp tank, you don't want lots of plants in them because what tends to happen, your soil being an active soil, runs out faster if you've got plants. So if you tend to plant heavy in a Caridina tank, your soil tends to not last as long.
Wow, I didn't know that. How come?
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, that's how it works. Because the plants are all absorbing a lot of the nutrients given off from, which in turn is not doing it. The soil sends. If you've got an overplanted tank, that soil's probably giving more effort to the plants and less effort to the buffering side of things.
Yeah. So what's your plan next, Rob, with this fish room here?
Well, I'm doing 3 tanks at the bottom, and I'm going to do 3 different. I might even get. I'm doing down here. All this. I've got the sponge filters already. I cut my sponge filters down because they won't fit in the tank, so I chopped them off so they're all the same size. They're already connected. You just need to.
That's a good idea, that's a brilliant idea.
I do it to them, okay, because if you don't, they're too long, they stand too far up, and I don't like that. So I trim them all.
I run this tank with literally about 9 inches of water at the most, because it's only got the plateaus in it.
What happens is the shorter the tube, the faster the bubbles go up and go out, so you get more oomph in your sponge filter as well.
Like the flow rate.
Yeah, increased flow rate. Oh yeah, it don't glug. It flows.
Yeah, I've got a tank set up now with a sump, and it isn't half glugging, and I'm trying to come up with an idea to get rid of the glugging.
But I'm thinking I want they're a Caridina, but they're an Indian shrimp. I want the zebra babouti.
Right.
Possibly I want to get a wild type tiger of some sort, maybe raccoon tigers, and get them over onto tap water and converted and breeding. So, because they're a good seller.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but if you've got Caridina raccoon tigers, nice stripy shrimp, and you've got them in tap water, they sell all day. That's Glen, they sell day because everybody's got tap water.
Yeah.
Unless you live in Africa, like.
I think that's what intimidates a lot of people, isn't it? Purifying the water and remineralizing. I can't say it. Remineralizing bit and stuff.
It puts a lot of people off the starting shrimp, really.
Yeah.
The whole remineralization, it's a scary. It can be a scary subject, but it's as simple as 10 litres of water, 5 mil or 2 grams of your salt or your mineral, and stir it up, let it mix for 24 hours. Add the water. Once you've done it once, you can do anything.
I think the shrimp hobby kind of kicked off the same time as the marine side. The hobby had like a renaissance where everyone started keeping SPS corals and all the LED lights started hitting the marine hobby, didn't he? And I found like it's not that much difference, is it really? Because you're stripping the water with big eye, and then you're just adding different types of salts, basically, aren't you?
It's pretty much, yeah. So if you can remineralize one type of parameters, you can literally, and you've got access to RO, you can keep what you want because you can buy your discus salts, your angelfish salts, your Malawi salts, your Tanganyikan salts.
Yeah, that's literally what I was doing. I had like a reef tank and I had a Lake Tanganyika tank. I was keeping the waste of the Tanganyika tanks. I was keeping RO, and I could literally, I had RO, so because I went straight for discus then, and I was mixing 50-50 RO and tap water, and it was you could see my parameters before, haven't you, Rob? So it was like perfect soft water.
Yeah.
But
I'll be doing a tap water RO mixed for them to start with, and then after that it will. After about 3 months, every month I'll just do less RO to the point where it's just coming straight from the tap through the dechlorinator.
Right.
And then my shrimp fingers. But that's the plan. And then I've got my discus tank, which is due in just over 2 weeks.
What discus? Was it wild you were after?
I want the wild type, the Heckline.
Yeah, I like.
Or the Stendecker.
Yeah.
But you can't get Stendecker anymore now. You can't. You can't. It's only what's available, basically.
No.
Stendecker lands no more.
They've retired. Wasn't it a family company?
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd like some checkerboards. There's my local shops stocking. I don't know if it's Israeli or something, but he said they're a good line. This fish are like they do well in high nutrient water, so or high mineral water.
You just got to be careful where they come from because everybody has different water.
Yeah.
So the key to transitioning any shrimp is drip acclimating for a long period of time. Don't do it quick. Tend not to plop and drop. I only plop and drop because if I'm going from, say for instance, I'm taking the rubbish grades out of these and they're going to my mixed tank. These parameters are all identical, literally. So if I take that shrimp temperature as well, literally, so plop and drop works. But if I was putting these shrimp into my new tanks, I would slowly drip acclimate for up to 2 to 4 hours.
What I do is I use an air stone. Do you do that when you drip acclimatise?
Yeah, I do this method. I have a piece of lime. I have a tap on one end.
Yeah,
and
that's exactly what I do.
And I put an air stone on the other end just to keep it weighted down so then it dangles. And then the way I then do it is if I'm dripping, let me just line this up. If I'm dripping in here, go like that. Put that in there, and I'll just leave that to drip.
I was doing the old tie knotting.
Yeah, that reduces the flow. But with having the tap on, you just turn the tap. You restrict your flow to 3 drops a second.
Yeah, what I found when I was doing that, like sometimes it cuts out the drips, or it's speed up.
The good thing about them jugs, if you're doing mud, I've had to drip acclimate 11 different species of shrimp at once. That was an interesting one, that, because I only had 4 jugs, so I had to do it quite quick, shall we say. And in total, it took nearly 10 hours of drip acclimating for all 11 shrimps.
Once I put planting carabiner on something like Charlotte or Dragonstone.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Again, because you can
cycle never before.
Where's my For instance, if I want to, although I've got a few plants in here, if I want to, I don't know, if I want to take this plant out, that's just not planted, but it's as easy as that.
Yeah.
And it's grown on the plant ring.
I like the way Glenn's basically saying, let your tank mature first before you put the plants in, so you don't get all sorts
of
100%,
because what tends to happen if you put the plants in while your tank's maturing, all that algae what's maturing, which you want for your shrimp, tends to end up on the plants. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, like the likes of Anubius and Boost, it probably comes with algae spores on it. So once it gets in a mature tank with a lot of light on it, it's probably the first place where algae's going to kick off, isn't it? I've just noticed these Waponga red laser rainbows are breeding. They're chasing each other around and dancing.
Glenn said he didn't do well with. I remember Glenn not doing well with raccoon tigers, but if I remember rightly, Glenn's went straight over to tap. I won't be doing straight tap, and then I will be doing it. I will be increasing the KH and the GH, introducing it slowly over a monthly period, basically.
Slowly.
I won't sell out that tank until I've got hundreds of shrimp, and they're all alive, and there's babies, there's juveniles. Shrimp is actually a lot newer than marine shrimp. The shrimp have only been around in the UK since 2015.
Correct. So
yeah, no one had shrimp before 2015. Not in the UK.
No.
Those are wad shrimp in 2012. Someone did, but they actually was importing.
Were they breeding them and selling them into the hobby?
What was that, Keith?
I said, were they breeding them and selling them into the hobby, really?
Yeah, it was an actual shrimp business, yeah. A legitimate business. The first one in the UK was Shrimp Corner, Manchester.
I've heard of that.
Well, I'm not going to go there on camera. I'm not going to go about that shop on camera.
I'm going to have to get these rainbows in a tank on their own and get them breeding. They're chasing each other around. I've got 30 Goida rivers. I only want about 6. I've still got like a breeding.
Yeah.
Setup of them. Because what I'd like to do is I'd like to have like one tank where I can like separate something and breed it and then raise the fry and then move them on and do something else.
That's how you want it. That's what you want. Yeah, that's what I want. That's how I want it. I mean, now I've got planted tanks like that, like this. I'm like, why have I got that like that and that like that? This has only got 3 fish in it now because one of them got that bullied. It died. So there's only 3 of them Lamprologus ornitopinnis in that big tank. But fingers crossed, I've got new homes for them already.
Have you?
Yeah, local friend, actual friend. I tend to only let my fish go for free if I know they're going to be looked after. And this guy, Will, his fish room's bigger than mine. He's got a shed, but his last got a very big payout from the NHS via a cock-up. And with the NHS, they bought a big house and they've got a big 25-foot outhouse shed built, summer house, and it's his full fish room.
Wow.
And he's got big tanks. His biggest is 10-foot long tank.
Is it?
I should really do a top. I might ask him actually. That'd be a good one. Yeah, he's got big fish because he's got fish like what Paul keeps.
Paul's got big fish.
Yeah, but these are big. These are full grown. Trust me. I'll actually see if I can do a little tour and a visit. I might even try and do a live.
That'd be brilliant.
Because he's got a dartboard area in there. He's got a sit chill out lounge. He's got a fridge in there. He's got a microwave in there. He's got a kettle in there. It's a proper man cave. It's all done. It costs him like 15 grand. But it's full insulate. It's also got air conditioning and he's got a water cooling system because he keeps axolotls as well.
He keeps axolotls.
Yeah.
Wow.
He breeds. That's his main income. Axolotls. He's a very good breed. He's got some. I'm talking leucistic golds and blue-eyed leucistics. I'm talking high-end axolotls. Yeah.
Wow. I see them in my shop, in my local shop, and they kind of tied into the hobby with goldfish, aren't they? And I've always been.
Yeah.
You're not a fan of Ranchu, are you, Rob?
I just think they're ugly. I mean, I like the look. I love the contrasting patterns and the colours to put to what makes them a tonchu or a blah or this or that. You know, I don't even know the names of them, but it's the face. I can't get round it. It reminds me of Elephant Man, like Joseph Merrick. Yeah. Joseph Merrick fish.
Even if I didn't want to be on camera at all, would be great. Yeah, that's. Do you know what? Here's a tip for you. Right, start your own business, doing building work just for fish rooms.
Or pond builds.
Because the amount of people I've contacted and said, "Can I tour your fish room?" and they're like, "Got building work going on." Whoever's doing all this building work in all these fish rooms must be absolutely massive.
Mate, it's a big business. He got a proper crew in to do it. He got the walls skimmed. I mean, you're talking a top class skimming, even down to the woodwork. He didn't go for basic door jones or basic kickboards. He's done his room so it's got like, do you know when they do them resin floors and they do them kickboards, so they're built up like in hospitals. So when it comes to mopping the floor, so when you mop the floor, water can't get out, obviously.
Yeah.
Like a built-in kickboard going up the wall. It's got all that. I'll try and do a tour.
I remember seeing one of them rooms that was like that, and then he had like a grating must have been about 6 inches a foot off the floor. So he could literally, when he was doing a water change, he could just put a pipe in the tank and let it run into the floor.
I could do a video where I do the transitioning of the fish, record me bagging the fish up in at my premises, and then us him driving me back to his to release the fish and then have a look around.
Glenn's onto one of my balls.
Got bullshit work going on. That sounds like it.
It's one of them though, isn't it? Like, I definitely need to get a fish room built, like a proper one.
I think it's a big. I think it's a very good investment. I don't see it as an opportunity. I don't see it as a spending X, Y, and Z amount and like, oh my god, that's too much. I see it. If you're gonna do it right.
Yeah, that's it. Like, do it once, do it right.
Plan it out, measure it twice, cut once.
Yeah, I don't know where. The thing is, I don't know how big a fish room I'd want.
At least 20. No, man, 20 foot long's not even long. You'd want something like a 16 meter by 8 meters in depth, maybe minimum.
Yeah.
Then you're talking a roof height of 2.2 meters, so it stays below building regulations.
Yeah, I've got tons of land at the top of the garden that I could do a big fish room on.
There's a guy. I've got a friend what builds summer houses, and is done with UPVC cladding and Kingspan. And these are only 5 to 8 grand. I think the 8 grand one would make an amazing shrimp room. But 8 grand, when you think about it, to do your dream is a good investment.
I've even considered buying a house with a garage and converting the garage.
Yeah, Glenn's limited on space, really.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
I've got even in my room, his is longer, but mine's got more width. If Glenn's was a bit wider, he'd have more space.
Yeah.
Or maybe Glenn should lose weight. You're right. I am God. If I did God, I'd have the best. Oh, I'd have my fish room open to the public. 5 meters before. You can do a lot with a 5 before square meters is a lot.
I had 15 by 12 in my old fish room.
Yeah.
And I was looking at getting a tank big enough to. I was thinking of getting an arowana. I was talking about that before with Paul, and some stingray in the tank. And I had the tank I've just got back. I had Frontosa in that, and I was thinking of putting that in one corner of the room, and having a bigger tank on the big wall.
Yeah.
And I ended up moving back here, and like I've got no room compared to what I had in that house. So I don't know. I'll fix something else. Like I need a proper fish room.
Rob's got more gas.
That's what it's all about, I've heard.
BK, I've done it, but what I did with my room, I planned this out 1,000,000%, 1,000,000 times before I knew, because once things are in place, they've been moved.
Here's Mexicali fish keeper. Even a mate, or I think it's morning or afternoon where you are. Yeah, but I definitely need to do something, don't I, Rob? I can't just sit in here. Like you
Start
said,
saving, Keith. Start saving.
Yeah, I will do, but like,
create a fish room fund, and any money, rather than put your money what's coming in out your own pocket to feed you what you've got now, and any money you make on shrimp, put it all away, and use it as one big lump sum. That's what I'd have done. If I could have done that, if I'd looked back now, I'd go back 5 years, and I'd have had about £37,000 saved. You know what I mean? Imagine the fish room I could build with that.
See, I don't even know what I want to keep. Like, I need to sit down and figure out, because I've done all it. Like, I've expanded the kind of breeding everything I want to breed, and then just got to the point where I'm thinking, like, I'm tired of doing all this. You know what I mean? And then, like we said before,
yeah, it's making a fish room function right. And what a fish room functioning right to me is, having fish what you want, what you have your heart set on, as well as having some kind of bread and butter fish, which you can make an income off, because you've got your tanks, which are non-profit, then you've got your tanks, which are profit.
Yeah, well, my opinion on that was always like, get some angels, get them breeding, and people will always take the angels off you. But there's not many people breeding angels in my area now.
It's the same here. Yeah. Everyone's doing angels. Everybody. It's all the ads I ever see. Well, before I got shot off Facebook, the fish ads was always angels looking for new water. Angels looking for new water.
Yeah, that's and every time I buy a pleco and think I'll invest in that, and then I've got something there that I can breed. Like within a month, like I'm on loads of WhatsApp groups and like loads of local groups. And within a month, there's people advertising them for like £4 for fish that should be selling for like 20-25 quid.
It's the same thing done with your African cichlids, your Malawis. Everybody's got them. It's like the dog. It's like keeping a dog. Like what dog does people most have? A staffy. Everybody breeds staffies. There's so many of them.
French bulldogs around here at the moment. Everyone's got one. Everyone's
walking around. Yeah, they're good. It's like a fashion statement, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't understand how a dog's worth £2.5 grand. Like I've always wanted a border collie, and they're about 200 quid, aren't they? So it just doesn't make sense to me.
Buy a cat off Gumtree at £25 like we did, and then 2 weeks later it cost us £1,700 at the vets.
Yeah.
So now I've got a £1,500 cat.
I had a cat that followed me home one day, and it just moved in.
They're the best cats then.
Yeah, it just like I used to stroke it and stuff, like it'd come over and stroke, and then it followed me all the way home. And it just never went back to where I took it home 3 times, put it on the fence, and walked home. And it like I couldn't go home.
Cats only go to good people. If a cat comes to you, it tends to mean you're a good person. Yeah, I think cats have very good judgment of characters. If someone says someone's shady, like for instance, I'll do a little example. I'm not naming names. Somebody came to my house, right?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't really want that. And the minute they came into my house, my cat's vanished. But yeah, if a good person comes in, my cat's, it's like, or even a new stranger, they will let you know if that's a good. I don't know if that's an instinct they have, but
probably is. I'm just looking.
The guy turned out to be a douche. Evening, Andy.
Evening, Andy. I'm just looking, and all 3 of my peppermint bristle nose have got bristles just at the front of the noses.
Yeah, but females also sometimes can get small bristles, so I wouldn't look into it too yet.
No,
especially in them. Females can tend to get some bristles, not as much as a male, but a little bit less defined.
The bristles tend to go up the nose on the males, don't they? Whereas
that's right. Yeah.
Not really into me. Bristle nose plecos for some reason. I had
bristle nose never go out of fashion.
I had L333s, and I'm still moving them on.
I had normal and albino Keith L333s, and back then I only paid £25 each, and now the prices now are like what, £80-90 a fish.
I bought mine. I think I paid about £4 each for them, and grew them out and moved them on because everyone in the area had them, and the breeder was just like banging them out, and in the end, if you like, give us half a dozen angels, like Manica Peru or something like that, and I'll give you half a dozen L333. So everyone in the area had them, and I thought, well, when I get to the point where the shops aren't going to touch them because all the shops will have them.
It's like, as far as I know, in my city, I'm probably the one with the only collection of 7 different Tanganyika species. I don't think anyone in this area has got Tanganyika. Never seen them for sale. Not even in the shop.
No,
not even your basic Rashadi.
I want to get back into me like Tanganyika fish. I absolutely love them. And
I would recommend you visit Wharf. And then because they've got that many flavours of fish, Keith, you'll be like, you'll kick yourself. So why did you get this when there was that and that and that? There's a wall. It's like this room, all that's just top to bottom, Tanganyika, even literally tanks on the bottom and tanks up top.
Well, This 5 foot tank, I'm thinking of burning everything in it, selling the shrimp on, and then doing a nice like Tanganyika tank with some shell dwellers down on the right, and then like Bachardi or Pulcher on the left. You said I can have your common Bachardi, didn't you?
Yeah, one's been beat up though, so one's paired up with an albino. But let me take you to it. But what I found, even
Let's
though this
go.
is mated with an how do I take this off? Oh, don't do it that way. I'll do it this way. 1 second. Even though it's mated with an albino, all the fry are normal.
Wow, look at all them fry already. How long have they been in there?
About 3 weeks.
Wow, they're knocking out fry already.
That's paired up. There's no albino. So all these babies will be het albino. So if you bred them back together, you'd get albinos from them as well. There's some shrimp. This tank has been emptied twice. I've sold the colony twice, and look how it is again.
Yeah.
And then we've got my Kipley here. Babies everywhere. It's all going on here.
Very cichlids.
Lots of them.
I love them transcriptors you've got as well.
Yeah, these transcripts.
I spotted. Did you notice on my video? I spotted a Julie in that. It was a what do you call it tank? A Malawi tank, and it had Julies in there, and I tried to pick out the Julie.
Yeah.
So good idea, and I never got round to looking at which one it was.
There's quite a few. These are the ones that have always been available. The old transcripts. I mean, when I saw the Jolie de Crumb's Kipley, I'd never seen Kipley before, so I was like, I'm having them. He said, "Oh, but they're hard to breed." He said they're not very prolific breeders. Okay, they got bullied in a big 150-litre tank, put them into a 25-litre tank, and they've bred.
Yeah, like mad, isn't it? I'm just watching these rainbows, right? When I come in the day, they're just white. They're like an albino or something.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them chase each other now, and the bright blue. They look like the dwarf neon, the Pracox rainbows.
Yeah, the
Obviously,
Pracox got to be coloured up. Yeah,
that's what they look like, but they've got red laser stripes down the sides.
Pracox are a very underrated, beautiful fish for an affordable price. Pracox.
Totally agree with you. I had them in my tank. I had them in a tank, and I thought, why aren't I getting any breeding out of them? Like, I didn't really see any breed behaviour, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to make up a spawning mock, drop it in, and see what happens. And I did, and I just had a cloud of little eyelashes in the tank.
Yep.
And within a month, I had they're all grown out. They're all like proper baby fry. And they don't mind a bit lower temperature, do they? Either the rainbows,
No.
I don't think. They seem happy, and like there's a bit of a draft in this corner of the room, and the tank's probably a couple of degrees lower than all the other tanks in the room. It doesn't seem to bother them. But then I was culling these. They look like chocolate rose. For honest to God, they're nearly the size of my thumb. And there's 3 of them in there. Have you ever seen it? Have you ever seen that, Rob?
What's that?
Like these shrimp I've got in here, they're nearly the size of my thumb. They come from a
Yeah,
blue
sometimes you will get a big. Sometimes you do get a big daddy or mummy shrimp. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. Honest to God,
Unless you've never seen they're really mature adults. Unless you've never seen them or kept them for that long, you tend not to see them get to that size. But they can get big, believe it or not.
These are massive. I'm hoping it's 2 females and a male. It looks like 2 females and a
They're
male.
the females you want to get buried because they produce in excess of 35, 40 eggs at a time.
These look like chocolate rose. What can I put in with them? Like if they're all 3. They just look brown with like a red tinge to them.
I would see chocolate rose to me is just a murky wild type shrimp almost. So
Yeah,
not a lot of really options you could put with them, or if they're male and female, separate them and try and create some lamb from what they produce.
I'll have to sex them. They look like two. There's two that are bigger than the other one. But they're absolutely
Just look for
massive.
that. You can tell a female off by a male. The males tend to be straight along the back of the bottom, whereas females' skirts are curved.
Yeah,
Almost looks like they've got an underbelly.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing. So
It becomes really. You're surprising how far back you can stand from a tank eventually, and be like, "Yeah, that's a male. That's a female. That's a female. That's a male." It does become really easy.
yeah, I can tend to do that with like the likes of my cherries and my blue dream.
The
Like,
hardest shrimp I've had to sex, very hard to sex, and I don't know why, was my metallic purples, the Nashi. Kaz
yeah,
has got the metallic purples now, but I was finding it
wasn't
really
very
hard to
close.
distinguish male to female. And I thought I had a tank full of males, and the next thing you know, I found babies, so I'm like, right, okay, I'll reevaluate that. And lo and behold, half was females.
Bloody hell. I I kind of like just on sitting here now. I can look over and look at the shrimp, and I can pick like the females are always bigger, aren't they, with the skirt, and the males are usually a bit smaller with like the straight back. There's Rob.
The bald head. TV shrimp.
When's Glenn getting his merch line going? It's already on his shop, is it?
I've told him, and he needs to change his caps. He needs the ones with a proper snap-on pipe peaks. He needs to do some muddies, because the t-shirt, what he gave me, I washed it, and it became a belly top.
I
It did. It did. It became like this. It
got
wants
this.
fruit of the loom stuff.
Was it? I got what do you call it? I got my logo done, and then like realised to get my logo on everything. So I got it on the t-shirts.
Best thing you can do is get one embroidered and find an embroider, because embroidery lasts forever.
Oh yeah, that's what I used to do when I had my own business. I used to get everything embroidered. I just thought it looked better as well. I thought it looked
It's more professional. It also gives it a logo, that 3D look almost.
Yeah, especially if it's like, even if it's just like a like a more simple logo, then
it's simplified. Yeah.
I've got 8 males and 1 female in my purple metallics. Just got 3 more juveniles, so fingers crossed they're female.
Yeah, what I noticed, Kaz, they become very male heavy. I don't know if that's in the genetics, but my tank was always very male heavy until I got some more from somewhere else, and then I finally had. It took me about 4 months to actually get them breeding.
What what's the truth in this? I heard that like with cherry shrimp, below 22 was it mostly male, and the other way it'd be mostly female. Excuse me.
What was that? Say that again.
I read the thing that said, so 22 degrees, one side of 22 degrees,
Yeah.
you'll get mostly male.
Yeah,
and the
that's
other
true.
side you'll get
That's true.
female.
You can do temperature sex dependent. Yes, I've done
I
it.
didn't realize that.
I've done it. All the tank produced females and one tank. I set 2 tanks up. I put the same amount of shrimps in it, same colour, and I did one at 21, 22, and I did the other one at 24 Celsius. One gave me 90% males, the other gave me about 90% females. So it is true.
And then you mix them all together and bred loads.
Yep. The way to do it. Hot and cold. If you want to breed faster, you want your temperature around about 24 Celsius, no more, no less.
Yeah, my fish room usually sits about that anyway. 23.7 now in the tanks.
It's around about the sweet spot. With them if it's that temperature roughly all year round, your shrimp will breed all year round, because I think it's spring. You get that springtime boom, but you get springtime boom in winter, in autumn, and that's all down to keeping them at them set temperatures.
I remember Glenn mentioning that the other day, the spring boom. He mentioned that, didn't he, on his live the other day?
I got all them from Dan. 3 at a time, sod's law. Yeah, but if Dan's you're getting shrimp off Dan and his male heavy, for instance, but I believe he keeps his at 20 Celsius. There might be a reason why he tends to be getting more males. 1 second. Might be a reason why he's getting more males. But temperature definitely determines sex, yes.
So it's not just hearsay then, it's actually a real thing.
It's the same with snake eggs. If you incubate them at 82 to 85, as opposed to 80 Celsius to 78 degrees Fahrenheit, one will be male, one will be female. Same process.
Yeah.
You can incubate snake eggs to determine sex, basically.
Yeah. Well, that's handy, isn't it? If you've got that knowledge.
I was doing reptiles when some people didn't even know what reptiles was. I mean, I'm going back to 2003. In 2003, I had poison arrow frogs. I had about 30 tarantulas. I had parrots. I had leopard geckos. I had corn snakes. I had whale pythons. My house was a zoo.
My mate, he's he's like probably the best angelfish breeder I've ever met in my life, and he puts it down to knowing how to breed reptiles.
Yes, because reptiles, it's the same heterogeneous. Like if you put two a normal, for instance, if you've got a normal angelfish and an albino version of the angelfish, put them together, 50-50 would be 50%. But the normals would carry the gene for albino.
Yeah.
So if you bred some of them normals from clutch together, all the normals would produce albinos again.
Yeah. Well, he's basically when I was doing that fish shop tour the other day, I was talking to the guy in the shop about my mates and his angels, and he was like, "I don't know how he can produce so many angels and how he produces them so fast." He just knows.
In that sweet, if you hit that sweet spot, you can almost learn a fish. You know what a fish is wanting. You know what a fish is doing. You know how a fish is reacting to what you're going to get. All this comes from your visual experience. It's surprising what you pick up. You can't get that stuff in a book. You have to learn it yourself.
No, they're like these angels I've got here. He's got pairs that he's bred. Like he's got like loads of genes in them. And he's bred them to like if someone says to him, "Well, I want Bulgarian seal points," he can throw them out of his line.
Yeah.
And then he'll line breed them and go, "There you go, there's
line breeding." That's right. Yeah. It's the same with most fish, really. All your cichlid species, it's the same with.
All right. I think
sometimes in certain cichlids, you'll get the occasional. I produce some Corydorus starebi, and I've got different colour eyes, and I put it down to the 4 bloodlines. What I introduced was non-related, and I think I have different locality. I think what's happened, I got somewhat was from Peru and somewhat was caught from a part of Brazil, and they're different localities, but only say 200 miles apart, but they're the same fish. And the darker ones is bred with the normal wild type one, and then it spat them back out. That's what I think has happened with my Corydorus.
Yeah. Mad, isn't it? Like
down to locality.
When I go up to his house, I'll probably do a fish room tour of his house soon. And when I go up to his house and listen to him talk, it like he knows stuff like about breeding, and that's one side of the hobby I need to learn because I start off with goldfish, so I'm all about everything that's not perfect. That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like I work the other way. Like I want to, like you used to with your shrimp, where you're like that's a beeline. I need to get that out and then keep my A grades and work them up. And that's how I've always been breeding.
You just got to put the hours in. You just got to put the hours in sometimes. Practice makes perfect, basically.
Does, yeah. Should we wrap it up then, mate? It's just about to hit 2 hours.
Yeah, that's fine.
I wanted to sit down and write a proper script, like not script, but questions for you. But
plenty of time to do all that in the future.
Yeah, but as I say, you agreed to come on kind of last minute, really, didn't you, this week? So
I'm always available, Keith. I don't do nothing but fish, so it makes sense.
That's it, just fish and work. That's all I do. So
this is my job.
Yeah. So we'll wrap it up here this week. I'd like to thank you for coming on at such short notice because
no problem.
I want to get you and Glenn on to talk to him, but Glenn had a secret visitor that we're not allowed to talk about because one, it's a secret, and two, I don't know who it is anyway. So
yeah, no problem, man.
Right, guys, thanks for joining us.
All right, guys, take care.
I didn't realise the time was getting away. Right, okay. How do we get off this? Yeah, take care. See you soon.
Bye, guys.
Boom.